Hi all, welcome to the SBL mock debrief 80 company case pre-seen analysis. I am RS Murali here. This series of 5 videos starting from this one followed by one on planning your answers and then one each on the 3 questions. How do you prepare for the pre-seen? As you all know, the pre-seen is circulated as a part of the SBL exam and you get it 2 weeks before the examination. It contains around 10 or 12 pages with information about the industry, the particular sector of industry, and a particular organization on which the examination case study will be based. So the objective is you need to make yourself familiar with the facts provided in the pre-seen with regard to the industry and company in terms of various industry terminologies, certain practices, special features, specific terms, or what we call as lingo used in a particular industry, etc. Note that pre-seen will be available to you during the examination as one of the exhibits, and I request you to go through the sample provided in specimen exams in the ACCA website. Several pre-seens are available, and going through them and making your own observation is very important. Format of the pre-seen, it's basically a text narration where you have industry information and organization related information. So the industry information could have macro information or performance of the industry, However, the case study will be based on this particular industry. And already you know the organization which is going to be examined in the SBL exam. Therefore, some information, some basic information about the organization, its formation, maybe its board, the various stakeholders, some challenges and risks, etc. could be available. Generally, some financial marketing data are also given. So, what do you do with the pre-seen? It's very important that the student should read the pre-seen to completely understand about the industry and also the organization. So, understanding of the contents is the key. You need to spend time familiarizing, as I had mentioned earlier, industry terms, activities, products, services, customers, suppliers, terminologies and activities of the industries you should be very comfortable with. So since it is based, the examination is based on a fictitious organization, the exam tasks will relate to this organization and need not rely too much on the pre-seen that is being circulated to you. So you need to be sure that you are familiar with the content of the pre-seen before the examination. Why? Because you can save time in the examinations once you are thorough with this. Okay, what you are not supposed to do with the pre-seen? Avoid extensive additional research. Don't get into the internet and start researching. Don't try to identify a similar organization and say what is their performance, etc. Not required. You should avoid speculating the likely questions based just on the pre-seen. As you go through this mock debrief, you will understand the links between the pre-seen and the actual exam questions. Avoid using pre-seen as the main source of material for answering the exam tasks. No, because you are going to be provided specific exhibits and specific questions based on those exhibits will be asked. Avoid reading pre-seen for the first time just before going to the exam or in the exam hall. That's not going to be good for you. And avoid spending too much time on the pre-seen. Okay, what is more important is you be thorough with the SBL concepts, you be thorough with how the previous exam sitting cases were solved and what are all the issues the examiner has raised in the earlier sitting, so that you are very clear as to how you will approach writing the SBL exam. Right? I hope you understand the purpose of pre-seen. Now, having got the pre-seen and you know the purpose, etc., how are you going to familiarize yourself and how are you going to use the pre-seen? You need to go through pre-seen quite a number of times in order to familiarize yourself with the content and in order to understand how the industry is working or the organization is working. And as you go through your second or third time, whenever, you need to start highlighting the key points, certain terminologies, etc., so that you are able to understand which are all the main points from your perception at that point of time. It is also suggested that you could do a SWOT analysis or PESTEL or whatever analysis. This is not mandatory. This helps you to sort of get deeper into different aspects of the pre-seen given, so that you become familiar with what is available, right? So my suggestion would be to summarize the pre-seen into a page or two. Let's say one page on the industry or the sector, on the other page of the organization, so that you're very clear that these are all the main. So you already get to understand both the sector and the organization. One thing is very important is you need to know the contents of the pre-seen, and in case during the examination you want to go back and look at something, you should be familiar with the content and sequence so that you don't waste time, right? So you cannot carry the pre-seen, but a copy of the pre-seen is available as an exhibit. So once you are thorough, if required, you can get back to the pre-seen in the exhibit to confirm certain facts, or you want to use some facts or numbers from that, you can copy and take it for your answering. So this is exactly what we are going to attempt now. Now let's get to the actual pre-seen and let's see how you need to read the pre-seen.
What you see here is a strategic business leader pre-seen information for the December 24 mock exam. All of you would receive a PDF, and therefore we are viewing that PDF. It is generally about 10-12 pages, and as we may see, this is the contents of this pre-seen, where you have a brief introduction, and it introduces you to the football sector of Thailand with so many information, right? The professional clubs, the industry body, the leading teams, KPIs, etc. And then you have athletic Transcentral AT, which is a particular organization which owns a club about which you'll have a case study in the examination, but some background is given in terms of history, teams, board, etc. And some extracts from AT website, the mission and values of the organization, and selected financial information summary is also given. Right. As we had discussed earlier, we go through the pre-seen several times. And what I've done is I have gone through several times. And in one of the times when I became comfortable, I started underlining. So I'm going to give you the highlights and later we'll see how we analyze. Okay. So this is how you need to go about. I have highlighted some places. You could highlight in different places. It entirely depends on the perspective of how you are going through, what impresses you from the pre-seen information. Let's look at what is contained in this. I'm not going through each and every line, but I'll make you understand what is there in the sense, the essence of this. Therefore, my suggestion would be, after going through part of this video, I think you should stop, go through the, whole thing to understand how you could have done, right? How you could have analyzed. Go through them again. There's nothing wrong. You know the answer, no issues. Okay. So it talks about a place called Thailand, in which there is a athletic Transcentral football club, which is owned by Athletic Transcentral Company. Okay. Across the globe, companies own a lot of these sports clubs, right? This is similar one. And this is referred to as AT in the case. So this organization is old one, successful in the past, and already you have this increasingly struggled. So there is some issue. And because you have some issues, it's part of your exam question, right? So then detailed information about the football sector. They discuss about the football, the sport of the football, and how the matches are conducted. I don't think you guys need an intro there. But in this particular case, you have sort of women's league, men's league, and also children's league, which means that different levels of, sportsmen are participating in the sport of football in the Thailand, the place. So there is a professional football playing there. So professional clubs are there. Each one has a manager, and there are a set of responsibilities. And then you have three levels of, the teams. And very important is a sport always becomes famous with the league matches. All of you know about it. So there's a football league that is conducted, which is prestigious. They have football league seasons, right? Depending on the performance from one level of, let's say grade A, from grade B, the clubs are moved to grade A and so on, so that it's very, very structured, and a lot of importance is given to the sport in this particular place. And they have multiple competitions, domestic competitions, international competitions. They also have women's, football league, right? And all the football league, all the football clubs, how things are to be made, they have a football association, KFA, Thailand Football Association, which enforces certain rules and regulations, of course. And those sports where the rules and regulations are well managed, the sport itself does well, right? So, and the pre-seen also gives details of various income and expenditure for a typical club, starting with the prize money, the ticket sale at the stadium, then various other, sales during the match day, right? So they may give counters for some companies to, advertise and so on and so forth. Important point is a transfer fee. What is the transfer fee? A particular player can be transferred to another club for a cost. So they'll maintain as if he is the property of this organization. So his value is capitalized, and when he's sold, they get the money and amortization, etc., takes place. So you need to understand how that happens, right? Income from advertising, income from sale of club merchandise, income from hosting events. Television, either you can broadcast a particular uh, game, or you may own a TV channel yourself. Some of the bigger clubs do have. Then expenditure, as all of us know, the human resource expenditure is quite high. Then you saw the amortization cost of the transfer cost of the players, the maintenance of stadiums and facilities, sometimes capital cost may be there. Then the expenses that is incurred on the match day. Then the cost relating to running the television channel or creating content for the channel, so on and so forth, and the finance cost. There is also a financial fair play regulation, which is applicable to the clubs. What do they say? They have listed a set of relevant incomes. They have identified a set of relevant expenses, and relevant earnings means relevant income minus relevant expense. They also say that each club will have to have relevant expenses, and the income should exceed the relevant expense, and they have given certain limit to that. Okay. So what do they say? Each club to have relevant expenses exceeding relevant income to a maximum of 5 million calculated over a 3-year period. What does it mean? It means that over a 3-year period, maximum of $5 million can only be the expenses above income, because they could always make it. If it grows more than this deficit grows more than 5 million, then there is a problem. And they have taken only direct items, right? Relevant income and relevant expenses. You can go through it. There's also a nice example where they have given some numbers to make you understand whether this kind of regulation has been breached or not. Spend few minutes, you'll understand. Then, of course, you have media coverage. We have discussed. Industry challenges are also there, right? So they have to keep their men's team always successful to have reputation, right? Right, their branding. Okay, and they should see that they make surpluses. I mean, that's a simple logic. And then several risks and threats have been identified. I suggest you go through all of them carefully. You could group them so that you know what type of risks are there in general, which type of risks are more, these are all some of the things you can do, right? And various stakeholders are there. It's an open book case of stakeholders, both internal and external stakeholders, right from the shareholders up to the people, including police, emergency services, etc. They were given a table of, the different, or I should say, it's a table on the market. They have given various leagues and the teams position in the league, the stadium capacity, what is the revenue they're earning. So if you look at it, almost that 80 is in the last position. So you need not do detailed financial analysis, look at them and try to find out where they stand, right? Next comes how they are trying to, all the clubs are trying to somehow increase their income by building, a new stadium or introducing a TV channel, etc. Right. So the sustainability and innovation come through digital media strategies as one of the ways. Okay. And as we have seen earlier, the television channels, clubs with television channels naturally get better revenue. Key performance indicators are given, things like even player salaries, because higher the salary means that it's a better club or they have better players, things like that. And there are also non-financial KPIs given, right? So better we understand what are the KPIs, financial and non-financial. Then we come to this particular organization, AT. What do they talk about? They talk about the organization, they started in 1895, okay? And their men's team started playing from 1907. However, we know that the recent times they have not made it, okay? And they discuss about different teams, okay? So for so many years, last 15 years, they have not won any title, right? Though women's team is relatively less by age, they are doing very well. And they also say, what is the average, attendees for each of these? Then you are given a board structure and how basically it is this TCOM family which is running it. And they have different directors: football, finance, marketing, IT, commercial, administration, etc. And how each function is independently managing itself. So, and then there is an audit committee which seems to be strong. Some information on the information systems is also given, because you have a marketing and IT director. They already have website and presence in social media, etc. Then they talk about the other facilities, which is the stadium. They have a stadium which is built 90 years ago. So it is in the city of Frenia. And they talk about they give various statistics about the performance and also the limitations, like limited car parking facilities, traffic congestion due to the location on the match days, right? Then, lot of other aspects are also discussed. So can go through and identify what are all the key aspects. Then they talk about the training facilities, which is supposed to be the state of art. They have upgraded it in the recent times, but it is slightly away from the stadium. Then they talk about the sponsorship, where they're not getting any sponsorship. So there is a need to modernize what they do. They need to become relevant for the current day's audience and current day, the the way the game has changed. They need to comply themselves. Okay, so they also have club shops, right, where they sell their replicas, they sell a lot of memorabilia. Then they talk about website, which gives their values on transparency, safeguarding community, the players' conduct, fair treatment of stakeholders, their commitment to environment. And they have given the selected summary of uh, financial aspects, where they have given last 3 years how the revenue has gone up. Then revenue by different types is also shown. While the revenue has gone up, how the EBITDA is coming down, and the relevant earning as required for FFPR is also going down. So this generally gives us a feeling that the organization is not doing well, right? So we have tried to look at, from a top perspective, what is in the pre-seen. Now we need to analyze.
Having gone through the pre-seen, let us analyze. We are going to do three things. One is we prepare a list of 8 to 10 points on the football sector in Thailand. we also prepare something on 80, some important points, and we'll try to do some SWOT and PESTEL just to understand the pre-seen information better. Okay, let's look at the football sector in Thailand. They have a league structure, the KFL, the 3 divisions with the 18 teams, etc. So the league structure is the first key aspect. Second, you got different income sources, right from the earning through the prize money to the television related income. Then player transfer is very important because they make quite a lot of money, and from the accounting perspective they capitalize, amortize, etc. Then academies, so institutions that have academies are able to develop players from a younger age and are able to give better quality. Possibly they also make more money out of them. Then you talk about the competitions, the cup competitions, both national and international level. You have the women's league also. And then you have another important aspect relating to media and coverage, where the top teams, the Division 1 teams do get their games do get telecasted, and there's a money to be made and coverage in journals. Financial fair play regulation is sort of governance mechanism imposed by the authorities in order to see that these games are played fairly. And you have the main income and expenditure. We have identified several income and expenditure that these clubs incur. You also need to understand the risks, including certain patterns. So what are the things that will affect the revenue, and how much is the competition? What are the penalties that they are likely to pay in case they don't stick to the regulations, right? And most important nowadays is the sustainability efforts, not just in terms of long-term financial sustainability, but in terms of ESG, therefore energy efficient stadium, digital media strategies, so that you are green. These are all some of the key points you could have noted down. Maybe when you note down, the points could be different, but understand the concept and the methodology. Now we get to the organization per se, athletic, Transcentral. So we understand the history and legacy of the organization, which is more than say 125 years old or whatever, but they have won only six times since then, right? And in the recent time they are struggling. So this is the storyline. Ownership, it belongs to one Clecombe family, and their shares are not publicly traded, which is an important information. Okay, the current CEO is a family member, which is important. So they have all 3 types of teams, and the top team of their men has got a lot of fan base, etc. And in the recent times, the women's team also is performing well, right? So they have a stadium in Frenia city, and it is 90 years old, and there are a lot of limitations, parking, etc. limitation, right? Then there is a board which consists of different directors. They also have audit committee. Then commercial activities. One important point here is they have got several sponsors but no lead sponsor. This is a very important, this could be a very important information from exam perspective. We don't know. So they have no sponsors. Okay. So, and then they do the sale of, replica of the football, blah, 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 the whole lot of it. Then community and environmental focus. They believe in community engagement and environmental sustainability, right? everywhere we are going to underline these points. The mission and values, they are an organization with a lot of values. Okay, they believe in transparency, player conduct, and they should have impact on the community in a very positive way. They do have very good training facilities, unlike the stadium which is old. This one is very good and recently upgraded, etc. They do have website and social media, and they can of course improve it, while they currently are involved using social media for various aspects. So now you see, by going through these main points, you are reasonably clear about, in general, about both the the football sector and also this particular organization AT. Now, to further our understanding, let's do a SWOT analysis, right? So I'm just picking up 5 important points for each of the SWOT items. So strength, strong legacy and supporter base, renowned training facilities, diverse revenue streams, good brand reputation, and strong women's team performance in the recent times, right? So the brand reputation, you can include things like their vision, mission, their sustainability aspects, etc., right? Weaknesses, outdated stadium, lack of a lead sponsor. When you go through detail, you'll understand that the online merchandise options are currently limited. The men's team performance is sort of not okay, declining. They have won so far only 6 times and all that. Then the family controlled governance, it's just one person in around. So the family controlled, any business that just family controlled without democracy is going to be an issue, right? Then you look at the opportunities. There's huge opportunity for them to renovate the stadium, or they could build a new stadium. Okay, they can enhance the digital engagement, social media, etc. Football, the women's football team can expand, because there'll definitely be more demand for that team because the women's team is performing well. Then youth academy can be developed, huge opportunity in development of academy like some of their competitors, and they could get into new sponsorship deals which currently they are lacking. What are the threats? Intensified competition. You look at the table that is given there. I mean, many of the competitors are several times bigger than 80, so you need to understand that. Then the fair play compliance risks are there. You cannot call them threat, but if you are not going to do them, comply with them, then you are going to have problems. Then there is a decline in television income, whether they should have a channel, so they should look at that. Reputational risks and media scrutiny can grow, particularly if you're starting to do very well, you're going to have problems. Many eyes are going to look at you. Then increasing stadium costs and infrastructure needs. Needs are also increasing, the costs are also mounting. All of them put together gives you a reasonable understanding, much more than the main 10 points we looked at. Okay, now let's also have a fast look at the PESTEL aspects. So what are they? Political, you saw the regulatory environment, government and local policies will also influence, and international regulations are also important because they do play international games. Economic, you see the revenue sources, fair play regulations that can also be included in political or legal, right? Then increasing competition can hit their economics. Then economic condition of the country itself can influence. Then social aspects, they have got very good fan base and community engagement. Women's football is being encouraged, so demand is more. Media coverage and brand image, we just now saw, right? Then the stadium accessibility and local impact. right? Because only with stadium accessibility you can have more of the fans coming in. Technological, so much of scope is there. Digital media strategy is one. They can improve their e-commerce. Stadium and training facilities are already available, but you need to see how they can upgrade the stadium or make a new one. Environmental sustainability initiatives we saw. Stadium limitations are there. If you go through the pre-seen, you will have more information of some issues in relation to sustainability, environmental aspects of the stadium, right? Then local community impact, by having the academy, etc., they can influence the local environment. Then the legal aspect, the data protection compliance will be there, compliance with the fair play regulations, and of course the labor regulations, etc. Now, it is not mandatory that you do SWOT, PESTEL or whatever analysis. I just thought two models we can take just to get a cross section of the information provided to us in the pre-seen, right? So now I'm confident that you guys have a reasonably good understanding of the contents of the pre-seen. Having stated, what do we do now? From now to the exam, I have 5 steps for you. Thoroughly examine the pre-seen and do your analysis in the same lines that what we had done. Take up as many mocks as possible, very important, and get your mocks evaluated by a tutor, or if you don't have one, do self-evaluation. Identify your weak topics and work on them after each mock. We find that a lot of students, they take up mock and then they are not confident, they take up another mock. Don't do that. Get your mocks evaluated, either self or by somebody, and understand where you have gone wrong and hit at them. 100% you will get benefit of that. So once you do few mocks like that, you would have all your weak areas would have been addressed. So then take the exam with